Council Action. I'm Russell Inman, and joining us tonight is Gerard Henke with Ward 6.
How you doing?
Gerard, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Good council meeting.
It seems like it's been a while since you've been up here for one
Yeah,
of the shows.
it has been.
But we did have an interesting meeting tonight. It was a little bit longer than most December meetings. There was a little bit of meat to the budget,
Yeah,
so
right.
it gives us something to talk about tonight. We started out, we had a proclamation for an Eagle Scout. Those are always great to see.
Right,
We had the young men attaining that certification. There's so few.
There is so few of them, and I think Mr. Paul Feldman was the kid that achieved the Eagle Scout status, or the award, I should say. And that will carry. Who will carry that? The mayor mentioned it. Will carry that through the rest of his life. That's a badge of honor that will go before him, let people know, whether it be at work or job or whatever it may be, that he's a determined young man.
Hearing from citizens, now this is a time where you can come to the city council meetings, and if you've got an opinion or something that of yours that regards the city of Florissant, you have a chance to speak to the council. They can't always answer your questions there on the spot. It's a time for them to receive the questions, and we may even use this time now to answer one of those questions.
Sure.
Mary Burke had come up, and she asked why the Wright tree trucks are sitting in front of the city of Florissant's park, Bangert Park. And she mentioned it maybe being a little bit of an eyesore, but I want to give you a chance to speak to that question and answer why they're there.
What it is, and I received a call from one of my constituents in my Ward 6 also about those tree trucks. And I think what you have to look at here, this is going to end up beneficial for the city. The city is extending a courtesy for these trucks through Ammer and UE. This is the power line initiative, if you will, to keep our power out. And I know Florissant ranks as high on the list of getting this work done. So I think people need to just look back. Yes, it may be a little bit of an eyesore, these trucks are there, but it's a lot better than having the power outage. So we may have a little short-term negative, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a long-term positive results out of this.
And we all like having our power on.
Yes, we do.
We also had Keith English here tonight. He got to talk about what's going on in Jeff City, some of the things that are coming out. And he mentioned that some tax distribution changes that could affect the city's budget. Would you like to talk to that?
Yeah, Keith got up and is keeping an eye on where the city also has people that are watching this legislation. And Keith got up and spoke on it. They were trying to redistrict or redistribute how the taxes that are taken in are distributed out. And this could have a very big impact on the city of Florissant. So it's very important that we all know what these issues are, identify them, and keep an eye on them, that something doesn't slide past us that could have a dire impact on our budget here in the city of Florissant.
Gerard, that takes us to our public hearings. This is the time when we usually have a new business or startup or somebody who is buying a piece of proposed property to develop. And we start off today with Emos is part of a new development right at New Halls Ferry, and I guess it's Vale or Patterson.
Well, it's Patterson Vale out there. A lot of people may remember it used to be the old Wedgwood Bath and Tennis Club, I think is what it was called. And if you've been out there recently, it's an eyesore. It really is. It's just all in total disrepair.
About 5 acres of weeds.
Yeah, well, 5 acres of weeds and fallen down building. So what Emos is proposing, they're going to do, they're coming in there, they're going to put in a sit-down, about a 2,500 square foot sit-down and carry-out restaurant there, clean up that site. So we had to basically rezone it from residential to commercial for that, and I think all would agree to clean that whole site up. This is a win-win for the city. We get rid of basically an eyesore and put in actually a very successful, well-known business in that same location.
And it sounds like there's a possibility that in the future another business could develop, could build.
It is. It's a little over 5 acres, if I'm not mistaken, the property. So obviously the Emos restaurant is not going to take all that up, but they are going to clean up the entire site. They're going to clean up the entire site, put their restaurant in, and then we'll see what down the road, what else that may attract some other business, which would be good for the city.
We had a request to amend an ordinance. This dealt with the Culvers coming in.
Right.
They had a sign, a planned sign. They want to add a digital piece to this sign.
Right. This was, I'm not going to say it was an oversight, but they came back. What they're going to do is have these digital word signs, not a streaming digital sign, but just a sign for I think 10 seconds. There's 2 of them. There's going to be 2 signs there, and they'll both have the same message on at the same time. So we kind of moved it forward tonight because there was nothing odd about it or anything. It's just procedure. Let's get it moving, because I know Culvers wants to open, and it's a welcome addition to Ward 6.
And Planning and Zoning had already
approved it.
Recommended that approval as well.
So we went through the motions and got it through tonight.
Good. Second readings tonight, there was an ordinance amending the floodplain management ordinance.
Yeah, and that sounds, let me explain what that is, because it's, what is a floodplain management ordinance? What it is, our city engineer, Tim Barrett, came up with a few amendments or some changes to our floodplain management ordinance. And what this is, it's to comply with the FEMA regulations, the Federal Emergency Management, and the SEMA, which is the State Emergency Management regulations. Puts them in line with us. And I'll read you a little thing off of the memo here. It's where you can store hazardous materials and things like that if there would be a flood, and it changes to some parts of it to a 500-year flood plan. But I'll just read it right off of here. The city recently achieved Class 8 status within the National Flood Insurance Program's Community Rating System, CRS. This status provides discounts on flood insurance premiums for policies within the city. The city will maintain a Class 8 standing in the CRS with the proposed revisions. So what this does, we're in line, we're getting a favorable rate for flood insurance in Florissant, and this will keep those rates in line.
Okay.
That's what we'll make our amend our plan.
We had bills for first reading tonight to rezone the CVS pharmacy. That's we're going to be operating for a 24-hour drive-through pharmacy.
Yeah, they're talking about putting it down in Florissant Meadows, also in Ward 6, down there on the outlot from, if you may know where that Here Today store is, down in there. The outlot there, they're going to put in, and that won't be in the very near term. It won't be months down the road, but hopefully next year they're going to put in another CVS pharmacy there in that outlot. Has to give a lot of look to traffic and things that will go on that part of Lindbergh there.
Okay. Then another one for first reading. This followed through with the public hearing, the Culver's digital sign.
Right.
We had an ordinance amending 8059. This pertaining to wage range, job classification for full-time employees.
What that was on the civil engineer 1, and when we went over the city budget, we added a civil engineer 1 position, and this just had to update the books. When we looked at it, there wasn't a civil engineer 1 in job descriptions that exist now. So it's just a matter of putting something in that we already approved in the budget, so that so it was within. It's on the books now.
And then we had an ordinance amending Chapter 120, boards, commissions, and committees. So membership appointments, reducing the required age for the young members of that commission.
Right, the Youth Advisory Commission. What we did was we wanted to drop it down a little bit. We're trying to drop it down to 13 to get some of the younger kids. And the range was from, if I'm not mistaken, from 15 or 16 to 20. We're reducing it back now because they become adult members at 18. At 18, they can vote, they can be in the service, everything else. And this is the Youth Advisory Commission. And they wanted to lower it down a little bit to get some of the, I guess, the younger kids that a lot of these activities are directed to, get their take on it, give them some ownership of the events that are going to be happening.
Good. So that age is going down to 13?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we didn't want to do it let's just see how that works. If we can move it down a little later if we need to, but let's see, because now it's going to be 13 to 17, which is a little better window.
And if some of these kids want to be involved in this youth commission, how do they go forward with an application?
They can contact any council member, the mayor, city hall, contact the clerk, contact me if you're in Ward 6, and I'll promote your name to put it on a commission. I think it's a real interesting thing for kids. In fact, my daughter Amelia, who is now 24, was on the Youth Advisory Commission, and remember her doing all the events with the city back then.
Now, the mayor spoke a little bit about the houses with the Christmas lights going up.
Yeah.
I guess the Youth Advisory Commission
The judges
is part of the judges for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that brings us to council announcements. What's going on in your ward?
Actually, there's
probably not too much around Christmas.
Not around Christmas. There's not a lot of things, but I do want to reiterate, and I tell people all the time, my phone number is 831-1180. Anything in Ward 6, if you have questions, concerns, I just recently had parking issues, whatever the case may be, feel free to give me a call. That's my job. That's what I was elected to do, is represent the people in my ward, and I hope to do a good job of it. When I ran, I said I would be there for them, and I'm going to do my best to do that.
All right, Gerard, thank you for your commitment to the city.
Thank you.
Commitment to the folks in your ward, and for going over this agenda with us.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. I'm Russell Inman. We will remind you we're going to see you next year. This is our only December meeting. Hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.